You must first ask yourself, what do I really want in this life? Is it gold? Is it power? Is it fame? Or is it something deeper? Something stronger, something that outlies the glitter of coins and the flash of titles. So let me take you back to a scene of burning incense and stone palaces, where the young King Solomon, crowned with the weight of a kingdom, stands alone in the silence of night. The voice of the infinite whispers, "Ask what I shall give thee." And what does Solomon, a mere youth, say? Does he beg for treasure, for thrones, for long life? No, he says. Give thy servant an understanding heart. You, my friends, there is the greatest secret of kings and prophets, of builders and dreamers. The secret is not in what you own, it is in what you know, what you perceive, and what you understand. Solomon asked for wisdom, and because he asked for that first, all else followed. Now, listen carefully. This is where you enter the story. You are no different from Solomon. You too are faced with choices, daily whispers, and unseen thrones waiting to be claimed. But the question is, are you choosing wisely? Are you choosing wisely? I remember a moment in my own life when I was surrounded by chaos. No money, no direction, just doubt and despair. I could have begged for quick success, for easy fortune, but I realized without wisdom, fortune is a curse, and without purpose, riches are chains. So I sat still and asked not for answers, but for clarity, not for shortcuts, but for truth. And when truth began to enter like sunlight breaking through the morning mist, everything else began to follow. Chase, let me tell you this, Solomon was not rich because he was a king. He was king because he thought like one, and you, yes, you, can do the same, but only if you master the inner kingdom first. Wisdom demands focus. It demands you tune out the noise of the world, the hollow laughter, the addictive distractions, the endless scrolling that steals your soul. It demands discipline over desire, order over chaos, order over chaos. It starts with asking yourself every morning, what would a wise man do today? Then you do it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one claps, especially when no one sees. Remember this truth. Wisdom will always be quiet, but its results will speak louder than anything else. Look around. Those who build lasting legacies, they don't chase trends. They think clearly. They speak carefully. They move with purpose. And they choose deliberately. So I challenge you now today, not just to admire the wisdom of Solomon, but to emulate it, to make your own request to the universe, to the divine spark within you. Grant me understanding that I may build, lead, and rise. Because when you possess wisdom, you'll attract the gold, the peace, and the power, not the other way around. So now go forth, not merely to be rich in things, but to be wealthy in thought. Let the secret wisdom of Solomon live in you. You become what you deeply seek, and wisdom is the highest pursuit. You see, the human mind is a marvelous divine mechanism. It is like a magnet drawing into itself the exact substance of its dominating thoughts. If you seek pleasure, you will find distraction. If you seek money without meaning, you may get wealth, but with it comes emptiness. But if you seek wisdom truly and earnestly, then everything else will begin to align. Down the ancient texts, the philosophers, the mystics, and yes, even the most successful industrialists and creators of our time, all whisper the same truth. What you obsess over, you eventually attract. But here's where most people falter. They obsess over things, not over understanding. They chase results, not reason. They want the fruit, but ignore the root. Think of a gardener. Would he expect fruit before planting seed? Would he curse the soil before tending to it? And yet, people every day curse their lives, complain of poverty, failure, loneliness, when they have not yet planted the seed of wisdom. Of wisdom, that seed, my friend, is intention. It is asking yourself, what am I truly pursuing? Not just with my lips, but with my daily actions? But with my daily actions, fellows, Solomon became the wisest king not by accident, but by desire. Not passive desire, but desire with spiritual intensity. He longed for wisdom, not for ego, not for personal gain, but because he wanted to serve rightly. That's what made his request pure and therefore powerful. Ellie, the truth is, you will always be the sum of your dominating desires. So if you're not becoming what you wish, examine what you've truly been seeking. If your life lacks direction, it's not because the world is unjust. It's because your inch compass is not tuned to the highest frequency. Oh, and what is the highest frequency? Wisdom. Wait, because wisdom does not just help you to win. It helps you, Doc, to know why you want to win in the first place. Wisdom puts a sword in one hand and a mirror in the other. It gives you both the tools to build and the clarity to see whether what you're building is even worth your time. The world doesn't. King Solomon's request reveals the power of desire with purpose. Ali, when Solomon was given the chance to ask for anything, riches, revenge, long life, power, he paused and asked for something that shocked even the heavens. Give thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and evil. Ali, that moment, my friends, is one of the most profound in all of history, not because of what he asked for, but why he asked for it. GOP Solomon had a purpose. His desire was not selfish, but sacred. He wanted to serve. He wanted to lead rightly. And because his desire was backed by purpose, it unlocked a universal law. When your desire is pure, when it's aligned with a higher calling, the universe will move mountains to deliver it. Although, too, many people today are asking for things without meaning. They say they want success, but can't define what they'll do with it. The roofer, they say they want influence, but haven't clarified who they want to help or why they should even be followed. They want a crown, but they don't want to carry the weight of responsibility that comes with it. But Solomon did. He understood that leadership was not about being served, but about serving better. He asked for wisdom, not for his ego, but for his mission. That's the power of desire with purpose. Let me tell you a personal truth. In my early years, I desired to be a success. I thought success meant money, applause, recognition, but each time I chased it for those reasons, I was met with struggle, resistance, and eventually silence. It wasn't until I asked myself, why do I want this? That things began to shift. When I connected my desire with a purpose to uplift others, to share truth, to inspire those who were down and out, then doors began to open. When Solomon made his request, he wasn't just praying, He was aligning. He was stepping into the divine blueprint for his life. He was making it clear, I am here to fulfill a role greater than myself. That one request defined his destiny. His destiny. Oh, your desires will either bind you or bless you, depending on their intent. Ask yourself, are you asking for something just to ease your insecurity, or are you asking to fulfill a mission greater than yourself? That is the Solomon difference. Desire alone is not enough. It must be forged in the fire of purpose. It must be backed by vision, guided by values, and tested by trials. When you combine burning desire with unshakable purpose, you become unstoppable. That's when you stop begging life to give you something and start commanding life to respond to the vibration of your clarity. Lee and Solomon, with a single request, proved that the power of a life is not in what it owns, but in what it asks for. Wealth, power, and peace followed wisdom, not the other way around. Let that sink in. Solomon didn't chase gold. He didn't demand armies. He didn't negotiate for treaties or bow to foreign kings for peace. He sought wisdom, and as a result, everything else was added unto him. That is not coincidence. That is law. You see, most people get this order entirely backward. They run after money, hoping that wealth will buy them respect. They chase positions of power, believing influence will bring them peace. They seek fame, assuming it will earn them love. And when they finally grasp these things, if they ever do, they're met with something they never expected: emptiness. Because without wisdom, wealth is waste. Without wisdom, power is dangerous. Without wisdom, peace is a mirage. It looks like rest from the outside, but inside it's chaos waiting to erupt. But Solomon, oh Solomon, he knew something different. He understood the divine order. He sought the root, not the fruit. He didn't ask for the gifts of the kingdom. He asked to understand how to govern them. And what happened? Gold flooded his treasuries. Nations came from afar just to listen to him. The Queen of Sheba traveled with caravans of riches just to sit in his presence. His wisdom created magnetism, and magnetism, true spiritual magnetism, always attracts abundance. You don't have to chase. You have to become. That was Solomon's secret. Oh, I recall a conversation with a self-made millionaire who once told me, I spent the first half of my life chasing money. Meaning you, see, sir. The second half, I chased meaning, and only when I found wisdom did I realize they were never meant to be separate. Wealth and wisdom are not enemies, but they must come in the right order. Seek wisdom first, and wealth will find you prepared to handle it. Seek wealth first, and wisdom may never catch up. Solomon's reign was not just rich, it was peaceful. He wasn't constantly at war. He wasn't crushed under scandal or betrayal. Why? Because he ruled not just with strategy, but with understanding. His people trusted him because he knew their struggles. He judged fairly because he saw beyond appearances. He led powerfully because he first led internally. Slowly, wisdom is not just knowledge, it is applied truth. It's the skill of knowing haven't. Corey? True wisdom begins with discipline, clarity, and inner harmony. When people hear the word wisdom, they often imagine an old man with a beard speaking in riddles, quoting ancient books, or withdrawing from the world into stillness. But the truth is far more active, far more dynamic, and far more demanding. Wisdom is not passive. It is power under control. It begins with discipline. The kind of discipline that requires you to say no when your emotions scream yes. The discipline to listen before reacting. The discipline to pause when the world demands speed. The discipline to respond with principle, not pressure. Solomon didn't become wise overnight. He trained his spirit to recognize truth. He cultivated his thoughts. He sharpened his understanding like a sword, and that began with mastery over himself. Let me be clear, you cannot lead anyone if you cannot lead yourself. You cannot build lasting wealth if your habits are scattered. It's bull. You cannot expect clarity from the world if your mind is in constant conflict. Clarity is the second key. Solomon saw what others could not. He discerned motives. He perceived the unseen. And why? Because his inner world was not clouded by lust, greed, or ego. He had cultivated the ability to see through, not just look at. When you operate with clarity, you stop wasting time. You no longer chase distractions. You no longer fall for appearances. You begin to direct your energy like a focused beam of light cutting through noise and illusion. Well, that's wisdom in action. And where does this clarity come from? It is born from inner harmony. Solomon lived in a time of great external peace, but that peace was a reflection of something deeper, his internal state. He was not at war with himself. His values, his vision, and his choices were aligned. There was no gap between what he knew and what he did. That alignment is what gave his decisions such weight, such gravity. Most people are fragmented. They want success, but sabotage it. They crave peace, but stir drama. They long for love, but act from fear. That's not wisdom, that's conflict. And as long as you're at war with yourself, don't expect the world to treat you kindly. But when you are centered, when your mind is ruled by principle and your heart is ruled by purpose, then wisdom flows naturally. Decisions come easier. Chaos loses its grip, and others begin to trust you, not because you're loud, but because you are stable. Well, Solomon was not perfect, but at his peak, he embodied what wisdom feels like. A calm force, an unshakable mind, a soul in sync with its assignment. And that is where wisdom begins, not in books, not in speeches, but in the quiet victory of mastering your own spirit. ChatGPT said, circulate, you must choose daily to think and act like Solomon or perish in noise. Daily, every day, from the moment you open your eyes, you are faced with a choice. Will you live by intention or by impulse? Will you pause to think with clarity or be swept away by the flood of information, opinions, distractions, and noise that now surrounds our world like a constant storm? Solomon's greatness did not lie in one moment of wisdom, but in the continual practice of it. It was not just that he asked wisely once, it's that he chose to act wisely again and again, especially when it wasn't easy. That's the mark of true greatness, the ability to repeat wisdom under pressure. Now, we live in an age where everything around us is designed to steal our attention and weaken our focus. Your phone buzzes, the news screams, social media shouts. Everyone has an opinion. and very few have understanding. And in that chaos, most people lose themselves. They stop thinking. They start reacting. They become echoes of other people's thoughts instead of authors of their own. But you have the power to choose a different path. Well, each morning is an opportunity to declare, today I will not be ruled by noise. I will be ruled by principle. That's what Solomon did. He made it a habit to seek insight before action, to measure his words, to discern the heart of a matter before drawing conclusions. Oh, wisdom isn't a talent, it's a choice. And it's one you must make every single day. You must choose to think long. When the world pressures you to act fast, you must choose to observe silently. When others are shouting for attention, you must choose to go deeper. When the world rewards the shallow. Oh, when Solomon was presented with difficult decisions, like the famous case of the two women fighting over a child, he didn't rely on politics or popularity. He relied on discernment. And that discernment didn't come from guessing. It came from a trained mind, a steady heart, and a connection to divine principle. Today you are Solomon. You sit on the throne of your own life. Your choices shape your kingdom. Your thoughts carve out your future. Your habits, your words, your silence, they all matter. But if you don't consciously choose wisdom, the world will choose foolishness for you. If you don't.